Hello and welcome back to the Finals Armory Showcase series. Today we continue our journey with another contestant's request. From the heavy loadout, the MGL32, the most underrated weapon in the game. Extremely strong if you know how to use it, and the only weapon that will let you punish teams that are playing 2-pack together. So I hope you find the video useful, as we'll go over the weapon stats, how to use it at all ranges, and what gadgets and specializations I suggest. But before we start, if you're enjoying the video, please leave a like, as it massively helps me. Now let's get started. So the MGL deals 83 damage per shot and a total of 498 damage per magazine, where every single shot deals splash damage, which is perfect to punish teams that are hugging each other. The MGL also shoots projectiles that will detonate after one bounce, meaning that you will be able to hit opponents from behind cover. These two features make the MGL extremely strong and dominate in enclosed structures like buildings and alleys. This weapon is at its strongest when targeting multiple enemies. But let's look at the TTKs now. It kills lights in 0.67 seconds using 2 rounds. For mediums, it's 4 shots in 2 seconds. It would be 1 shot less, meaning 3 rounds, if only every single round dealt 1 more damage. And finally a heavy with 5 rounds in 2.67 seconds. Now looking at the stats for our underrated MGL, we can see on paper that none of these numbers look wonderful. 6 shots at 83 damage per shot, 90 rounds per minute for 125 damage per second. And he also has a slow reload of 3.1 seconds when empty and 2.85 seconds for a tactical reload. The other 2 numbers that I want to look at is the maximum fuse time and the inner explosion radius. Alright, so the max fuse time is how long the projectile will travel before it detonates if it doesn't hit anything before that. Meaning that despite being a projectile weapon and not having any fall-off damage reduction, we still have a limit to our maximum range. While the inner explosion range is what makes the weapon extremely strong. For example, the distance between these 2 targets is 2 meters, and with one well-placed shot I can hit both of them. Just to make it clear, the maximum inner explosion range is the maximum distance at which every single round deals 83 damage. Beyond the 1.5 meter, it slowly loses damage until it gets to 0. Let's now look at how to dominate at every range with the MGL. Beginning with the close distance, the 0 to 5 meters, which is split into 2, open areas and inside structures. The former being the worst situation in which you can find yourself with the MGL, or rather the more awkward one. Because due to the mechanic of the MGL, in close quarters in open areas it's almost impossible to hit your opponents. But with the help of abilities and gadgets, which we will look at later, we can mitigate this danger. While inside buildings you're gonna be doing a different thing. Try to shoot at walls and ceilings that are next to your opponent to better land those rounds. Another tip that I can think of is to shoot the MGL as much as you can, because yes, the reload takes about 2 to 3 seconds, but the last round you shoot will take at least 1 second before it detonates, cutting down on your reload time. And the very last tip before we move on to the next range is the potential the MGL has for area denial, which is beautiful to prevent players from pushing cash outs or yourself. Now for the medium range, the 5 to 20 meters, which is a much better range for the MGL. You should be able to easily dominate at this range without much trouble, but just like for the 0 to 5 meter range, do not be afraid to use walls and ceilings to better land your shots. The MGL should easily help you lay destructive firepower at range, which will leave your enemies surprised. And finally, one of the MGL's features that need to be highlighted is the ability to take care of traps that might have been set up on cash outs to defend them. And finally, the long range of 20 meters and beyond. But we saw earlier that 2.5 seconds is the maximum time before a round detonates midair. Hitting targets at this range, it's tougher but possible. You gotta aim higher to compensate for drop-off and fire into crowded areas or choke points. You may not get direct hits, but you can still deal splash damage to disrupt the enemy team. Now, to maximize the MGL's potential, you want the right gadgets and abilities. So here are my top picks. Beginning with the must pick, we have Dome Shield and Barricade. They're great for mid-range fights, and you can use them to create temporary safety while you reload or to block incoming fire while bombarding the enemies. Barricades are especially good inside structures because you can block the line of sight enemies have on you, while you can still hit them by bouncing their rounds on the nearby surfaces. Another great pick is the Pyro Mine. You're gonna place pyro mines around key objectives with choke points, which can then be detonated using the MGL's rounds for devastating multi-kills. Playing on the same principle, we have C4, which can use to set up traps around quarters or key locations, and again can be blown up by the MGL's rounds or directly with the C4 detonator. And finally, doubling up on the explosive firepower, we have the RPG. It's great for entry damage and it can be used to take out enemy cover, who are then left out in the open, ready to be blown up by the MGL. And that's your crash course on the MGL in the finals. With its high damage, area control and versatility, this weapon can be truly a powerhouse in the right hands. I'm sorry if the video was a little bit shorter than usual. I had some stuff going on, but I still wanted to deliver it on Friday. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and let me know your favorite MGL moment in the comments. Also, don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the Finals Armory showcase video. That being said, see you next time.